Miff, you were there at Tannadice on Sunday as our title hopes took a doing. Talk us all through it. Where did it go so wrong?
Hello, Tino. Hello, James. Hello, Paddy. And hello, listeners and viewers. Where did it all go wrong? The minute the game started, really, beautiful afternoon in Tayside. Lovely wee stop up on the bus. Wee refreshment, pre-match. Everything going well. Actually felt like a day at the beach when you saw the pitch and you got there. So it was all great. And then even just everything about it was flat. The start to the game was so flat. I think, we'd allowed Dundee United to completely break the game up in the first 5 minutes. We got no momentum going whatsoever. And then some bizarre decisions, starting lineup, some bizarre substitutions and in-game changes. And all in all, just one of those days to forget. I know in a wider context, it's been a bit of a season to forget. Been up to Dundee 3 times this year. We've not won. We've not beat Hearts. We've not beat Rangers. Can you win the league with those stats? If we do, it will be the season of all seasons, despite where we find ourselves just now, because there is still a genuine chance that could happen. The top 6 split creates that possibility because it's all got to be 6-pointers and teams taking points off each other. But after navigating those 5 really important games, it feels to me like we've just really done away with some crucial momentum.
Yeah, you've undone some serious good work. As Miff mentions there, we've been to Dundee 3 times this season under 3 different managers and picked up 0 points. Brendan Rodgers lost 2-0 to Dundee. Wilfried Nancy lost 2-1 to United. And yesterday, Sunday, Martin O'Neill lost 2-0.
So what you're saying, Rodgers kind of started that decline?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's the fault of one man.
Yeah.
James, in the season that is this one, and in the various catastrophic performances we've seen, starting right at the top, with Kaira Almaty and everything that's followed, all the kind of various
I'd forgot about that.
shambolic results. Where does that one rank yesterday?
Top clear. Because even if you look at Nancy, Dundee United,
At least they scored.
They scored, they created loads of chances in the first half, and even in the second half when they went goals down, they responded badly, but they responded. There was no response yesterday at all. And if you look at, you said the worst game maybe you'd ever seen, Celtic was Firth Park and Motherwell
That was
end
worse.
of December. Motherwell are a decent side. Dundee United are not. They're 7th for a reason.
That was worse, right?
So that's why it's head and shoulders the worst of the season so far. Maybe Kaira Almaty will give you, but certainly domestically, worst.
Paddy, how can we go from what we've seen in the last 5 games? There was all this chat about those 4 nightmare away games. Celtic came through them pretty strongly, and you then go and beat Motherwell into the bargain. How can you go from all of that and all of that good stuff and all of that momentum to what we witnessed at Tannadice?
It just seems like they can only fire themselves up for the bigger games and what's important, and even them have struggled in them. That's been a brilliant run, that 4 weeks, and what we got with the away victories, and obviously the draw in the league at Ibrox. But the bread and butter is that we need to be beating everyone. This is the position we're in just now. This is where we find ourselves after what has been a really, really long season, a really taxing season. We have struggled, and it's not a case of lower half of the league, top half of the league. We have struggled against everyone.
Yeah.
We've ground out results. I think back to even the last minute winner against Kelly. Kelly have been fighting for their lives, and they're trying to stay up. We should be blowing them away, but we don't have a team capable of doing it. I think it's also very, very telling. We spoke about it a little bit yesterday in the final whistle show about the amount of players used this season. The squad is a complete mess. It really, really is. And there's a lot of injuries that are really affecting it. But the morale must just be so up and down when you look at the amount of changes we're making week in, week out as well. It's a tough one for someone to take things with the scruff of the neck and really push it forward. I spoke to Stevie, who you had on for the pre-match from the Manhattan CSC. Him and I had messaged a few weeks talking about that run between the 4 games leading up to Tannadice, and he said that the 2 Dundee games were his biggest worry, more than those 4. And I was a bit like, I'm not sure where you're coming from, but this has been a sign of Celtic this whole season. We do all maybe some of the hard work and then get ourselves a bit of a run and we think, right, this is it, and then we just let it fall away again. So aye, it's like this game will take care of itself. But I think you guys were saying it before we came on, they've taken one look at the part and just done, not for me.
And you've had that situation where in previous weeks and weeks we've had, you know, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, all that stuff, and this really intense run. Now we've had a bit of a chance to regroup, potentially work on some tactical things, and at least get a bit of rest and recover into the players, and we've come back worse.
I mean, I would say any tactics you put in terms of playing football went out the window as soon as you arrived at Tannadice. But you arrive at Tannadice and you go, right, here's the game plan, because the game plan isn't the one we had planned.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem to respond to that at all. I mean, Scales has taken a particular panelling, because if there's one thing Scales hates is a ball coming at him rickety all over the place, and he was bad, but he wasn't alone. There's no football could be played. You were screaming for you know, after about 50 minutes, just launch it, take the second ball, see what happens.
I mean, I wasn't screaming.
Because
I was asking politely. Get on it, Pop.
it's like Ned Flanders' wife. No, it was Ned Flanders. Sounded like his wife. It was like, because there was no point in playing through channels and lines. None of it worked.
No, it didn't.
They were playing tiki-taka for 90 minutes.
May I ask the panel a question?
You are the panel.
Why change team?
Yeah, changing a winning team.
Turns out it doesn't matter what you did on it. It was going to be crap.
Well, you would always say, you have said Tunecki's not a starter, so there's one change.
I thought he was an impact sub, but turns out he's not that either.
He's none of the two.
McGregor shouldn't have come back.
You do have the situation where this week's winner of Who Wants to Play Up Front for Celtic was Kelechi Iheanacho, but that has just changed week in, week out. And I think the McGregor shout is a big call. We know that he's been struggling. We absolutely flog Callum McGregor to death, you know, until he's got nothing left, and then he breaks down and we lose him for a number of weeks, and then we bring him back. Did you really need to throw him back into the mix after
on a hard pitch?
What happened against?
But is that a Callum McGregor thing?
It's not Callum McGregor's fault, and I'm not pinning that on him. But why is the management picking him?
It could be. No, but listen, it generally could be. We're looking at a very, very similar situation with Casper Smith.
That's what I was just.
But don't ask a player if he wants to play, because players want to play.
It's not up to the player.
Aye.
But what I'm saying is that, listen, for all we know, there could be something written into contracts. I'm not going into the depths of it. No, but you don't know. He's a captain. He should be expected to play X amount of games. He wants to play. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think when we speak about this team being bereft of leaders now, who takes the lead yesterday? Liam Scales? If we don't play McGregor?
I think in recent weeks it's been Hatate. Hatate was all right in the first half. Culpable for a goal, but I think McGregor sold him a bit short. But anything good that we did do in terms of a bit of incision going forward was coming for Hatate. I would say yes, they want McGregor back in the team for leadership, absolutely. But I thought the midfield balance against Motherwell was decent. I actually felt it was the midfield that really let us down for the point of view of the concession of the goals. Both Nygren and
so weak.
McGregor highly culpable. But what was frustrating me more about Callum McGregor was just his unwillingness to drive forward with the ball when he had the chance. If anything, when we were shifting Dundee United, he was slowing the game back down.
Yeah, and giving it back.
He was slowing the game back down, and that that tells me he's just not ready to be on the pitch, because I know often McGregor controls the tempo of games and he keeps the ball, but he had so many chances to play forward just that it just declined. And part of that will be confidence. He's been out of the team for a few weeks, but that just tells you itself. It's just not the Callum McGregor that we have become accustomed to.
And your theory on that, Paddy, is that he's so accustomed to doing what he done under Brendan Rodgers, being the pivot, but the pivot that generally plays left and right, and often back the way and back through your goalie, and then left and right again, and on occasion goes direct. He doesn't do that much anymore.
I think a lot of that comes from the fact that he doesn't always trust what's in front of him or to the side of him. We've spoke about that. We actually spoke about that quite a lot come the end of last season as well. I know you're going to come in with a point as well, Miff, but just quickly on that as well, I think there is a factor where, as much as he maybe shouldn't have started yesterday, is there an element of get the minutes in the legs so that he's up to speed for the other 7 games? Because I think that it looked planned, it looked designated 55 minutes off. That's your time.
He said that was the plan. O'Neill spoke about the sports science. I hate the sports science dictating what we do.
So they are, but then there's also that element of, if you're going to get the best out of Callum McGregor, then these facts are going to tell us the most. And with it might have not been yesterday. We might have hoped that it carried through and it was okay. It's not planned out that way. But the plus is that he's got that 55 minutes in his bank, and hopefully freshens him for the 7 games coming.
I just wonder, I don't think Celtic should need Callum McGregor to beat Dundee United. You shouldn't. It's not like, there was maybe, but it's not like a top of the table crunch match against the best side in the country. You should be able to get by without Callum McGregor, and you've also now got a 2-week window to recuperate Callum McGregor, during the international break.
But it's not the gap he needs, it's the minutes he needs.
To play a bounce game.
I know.
What are you going to get fitness-wise on the sand heap that was Tannadice yesterday? And listen, it's all hindsight. We're all experts now, but didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time. Did you have something else to add?
Just purely that I counted 4 or 5 times where the ball was played into Negrin and he passed it back immediately where it came from when he had a chance to go in the half.
It's killing me, man.
Yeah, they might have taken bounce off today.
That when the context to McGregor is I'm giving him a hard time for no point forward, but there was times he did try to do that and he's getting the ball pointed directly back to him for the person he's given the ball to get on the half turn.
Just on that, if you watch the first half back, I actually didn't think we were under too much pressure, and if you look at the way we were building it up and having those little moments on that park, the breakdown was Negrin.
Yeah.
The breakdown of our play was Negrin yesterday. He was hopeless. He didn't want to turn forward, and then for their goal he pulls out it. It is like so half-hearted. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about a few players already, right? So Negren's getting it just now. We've spoken about McGregor, should he have played? Liam Scales has been mentioned, a couple of others. But these players don't pick themselves, right? So what stage in this, let's call it this post-mortem Dundee United, at what stage do you just pin it right on Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, who are working with these guys so they know what Negren brings and what he doesn't bring? They know what Callum McGregor is capable of right now and what he's maybe not capable of. So when do they carry the can, or do they carry the can?
Yes,
yes. They do, but he's only got bad options.
Correct.
And that goes above O'Neill. It's only bad options.
Okay, but you've spoken about the tactics. What were the tactics and stuff? So that he can't control the dross he has to work with. He can control what they do. That's his job.
I don't think he can control that shot.
We spoke about this yesterday in the final whistle show. What I would say to that, my belief on that is that they are such a fragile team. That if you were going to come in and try and coach a new setup, a new style of play for them, in one ear out the other, they are very, very set in what they're doing, and he has brought it back to such a simple style of play. I've never seen a Celtic team so lack of creativity is unbelievable.
It's got no character.
No, it's got nothing.
As a team, style.
But would the change that he would potentially try and implement for a game on a part like that not be even more simple? It's like take all the ticky-tack out,
so take
go direct.
Take Iheanacho out and take Callum McGregor out. Who comes in and who does a job in that part?
No, regardless of personnel, I'm just thinking, getting into the last 10 minutes at 2-0 down, we're still playing it across the back. When are we going to go more direct, put it into channels, put it right into the box?
Which should have been the case. And when we went to the 3-5-2 and we 2 up top, that's what you're kind of screaming for, but it didn't really come. We changed the shape, but then continued to play the same way, which was quite baffling. And I've been advocating going 2 up top, becoming a bit more direct for that exact reason, is that the midfield's been lacking a wee bit of physicality. It's also had different players missing at different times. McGregor's a big miss. Engels has proven to be a big miss, regardless of what anybody says about Engels and whether he's been value for money or not.
He walks back into that.
He 100% is badly missed in that team. So it's definitely upped his value to the way that we play. But I just think that was endemic of yesterday, and that the starting selection was scrambled, in my opinion. I don't know why you wouldn't. I appreciate the wanted minutes in McGregor's legs and understand for that, right? I totally get that. But I would say somebody who moves the ball a bit quicker is Oxlade-Chamberlain. Whether he would get the chance to do that on that pitch, I thought he'd done okay when he came on, but no better than okay.
I think he showed ideas, but
I know. I think just the whole thing was scrambled. The changes we made were pretty scrambled as well. We've changed shape, but not style. So I do think that is on the coaching staff, Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney, no Fozzie though. And I think that it's getting a bit late in the day for lessons to be getting learned.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we've not really got time. We've not got time to be teaching.
If you don't know by now,
all we need to be doing is picking up points. And was there really genuinely that cavalier urgency for anyone in that team yesterday? That's the bit that probably upset me the most. Was that
took responsibility,
an absolute tame acceptance of the result, and
really 20 minutes to go.
Aye, and I think guys guys like Nygren, Tenetke and McCowan probably stand out a wee bit more at that, because they're ones who do let their shoulders slump a wee bit when maybe you're looking for a bit more.
Pressure's on.
Go on. Let's go and try and
use the pressure.
magic something, do something. It's like after you, Claude, sort of material. So that's probably the bit that disappointed me the most. But in terms of culpability, we've just spoken about 3 abject performances that we've seen this season. Normally you only get one of them a season domestically. We've had 3 across 3 different managers, and you mentioned the players being dross. I feel that's harsh, because there's some really, really big players in there and winners in there. But absolutely, whether it's down to application, whether it's down to mentality, whether it's down to simple desire, the buck is beginning to stop for me now with that playing squad. They've had their excuses. They know what's at stake. It's very, very plain for them. Who they were playing yesterday is a mid-table team. They are, Dundee United will be frustrated with the season that they've had. We have went up there and we've barely troubled them. So for me, that is 100% application of mentality. Yes, the team that was selected, I think, was the wrong one, but it's all right to say that in hindsight. But there appeared to be absolutely no motivation from the players to go and do something about it. And for me, that is completely unforgivable.
The thing that's bothered me is that what I've liked most from Martin O'Neill since he came back in is the pragmatism that he's shown. He's just been very practical about how he's put his sides out, and sometimes it's been a bit close to the wire, and the late goals and all that kind of stuff. But by and large, he's got the job done, and that record's now starting to shake. The Hibs defeat was the first domestic defeat, and you're going, okay, and then you the Stuttgart defeat, in Europe, and you're saying, well, okay, that's Europe and stuff, and you can kind of put them at the side almost as kind of isolated results. But then this one creeps in. And this isn't Hearts or Rangers, this is 7th place Dundee United. And I just think now, it does, at what point do you stop saying, and I've said that he's got a lot of dross to work with, maybe that is over the top. There is some dross in there.
It's not yes. Top.
But there's also a lot of quality in there as well.
Even there's quality, it lacks mentality.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
On you go.
So I was going to say, so Martin O'Neill, but his big thing has been the simplistic approach, the practical approach, the pragmatic approach, and then Sean Maloney and I think Mark Fotheringham have added a wee bit of nous, a wee bit of savvy, a wee bit of modern tweaking and tactical adjustments. And it just felt like everything went out the window yesterday, and that's why it's so frustrating, because, as I say, we'd built that momentum to a point where you were getting a bit excited about it, thinking, I think we're going to go over the line here. Yeah. And we'll have the discussion just shortly about where our tight hopes lie, but it just all came undone in one horrendous 90 minutes.
It was from the minute the first goal went in, I thought that was it. I didn't see any way as clawing it back. The heads go down, like you say. You can tell with the body language. And Dundee United, and credit to them, they how many attempts yesterday? I think 19 attempts. Majority coming in the second half. When we're the ones that's supposed to be chasing the game.
At 2-0, they looked more likely making it 3 than we did making it 2-1.
And they could have easily, and this is what I'm saying, it's that fragile mindset that a lot of these players have got. That doesn't necessarily come, that's not all down to your coaching. Your coaching's going to come from three different managers, 4 different spells this season. They have all made it clear that team needed reinforcements. Yeah. And that comes from what we've seen in January in that transfer window. Yeah. It is an absolute joke to have us sitting and saying that O'Neill got it wrong. It is an absolute disgrace that Martin O'Neill was in that position this season.
I know.
An absolute
And I want to apologise now. It's like I've said.
We still love you, Martin.
But see when you go, to look at the manager and blah, blah, and he told them in January what he needed, and you get Mvuka and you get Junior. I mean, come on.
Well, we were, I was listening to Axum today just on my break. And
what?
Aye. Rival podcast, I know. No, they brought up some good points about bringing up the conversation that O'Neill had with the press about give me the 2 names, can you remember?
Gajemis.
Yes. You're not a million miles away. It's pretty much the comment from
yes, you are.
Actually, you are, because we don't know how to sign players, and you're going to get maybe your 3rd, 4th, 5th target that I'd mentioned in the final whistle show yesterday. One of them, which we tried to spend money on, and has been like 2 appearances, like in Buka. We actually tried to spend money on that guy. It's baffling. So you can point the finger at O'Neill for some of the decisions made in the starting lineup. Absolutely, I think any manager is going to come under criticism. But if we don't win this league, that cannot be put on Martin O'Neill. One way or other.
And we're going to get to some of that kind of chat that you've mentioned there, Paddy, in the second half of the show in terms of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd target. But we'll find out in due course. History will tell us the real story. Martin O'Neill did not go out and identify Joel Mvuka or Junior Adamu as his first choice signings. There's just no way. And the thing is, he can't say otherwise right now. He could hardly come out in February and go, knuckle in, lads, I've tried to Egypt here.
Yeah, Lou McCarry for Willie Faulkner. Remember that?
He won't be great.
He's not got to set the header, like. Cheers, Lou.
Ready to go.
But just
Who
on
are Willie Faulkner? Decent player.
Yeah, not bad.
Faulkner.
But just on that, we've got what I've described recently as squad chaos, and there are now further questions. We're not going to dwell on Kasper Schmeichel here, right? We all watched it roll out last night.
Sideshow.
Goodbye.
Just all the nonsense that has been that, and then despite all the nonsense, he rocks up at Lennoxtown on Friday to train or to help the goalie. I don't know what's going on there. But you've also now got what seems to be a new weird situation with Julian Araujo. There's a suggestion, Martin O'Neill has confirmed he's back at Bournemouth getting rehab, which just seems a wee bit strange.
No, that's a common thing with loan players.
Is it? Because
Yes, it is.
he missed the Motherwell game and they said it was just a small calf issue. So is it more than that?
It's a big calf.
And will we see him again? Will we see him again, do you think?
Yes, I do actually.
Just seems
I
all
think
about
some of the rumours that float about, man.
But it's all
Like,
part of the game, you know.
I know.
They tried to find a hit piece with Schmeichel, and Neil didn't give them it, and they went, well, then they were all out drinking, and it was all
Fell off the pipe and he's hurt himself. You're like,
all that stuff. So
what?
it's just
No,
I think he'll be back.
I think he'll be back, aye.
I think he might.
What about Big Tam?
I think he might sign.
Apparently not well and then was training on Friday.
So what I'm saying is, right, so you can see the short couple of minutes we've spent on it here. There's stuff going on.
No, there isn't he.
There's nonsense going on.
He wasn't well.
Right.
He made it back to training on Friday,
Still
but
not fit
he was depleted and he wasn't fit enough to play on Sunday.
Depleted. If you're well enough to train, you're not depleted, are you?
Not ready to play 90 minutes or play
20 minutes.
Maybe he was in the tummy.
So as I say, Schmeichel, Araujo, it's unclear. At worst, it's unclear. Why doesn't the club just clear it up? And I tell you why, and I need to go back on my soapbox about it.
Do you know, nobody spoke for about 10 minutes.
He's
talking to
I needed to get this out.
We had this Moan V8.
Give me the laptop here, it's your show tonight.
We had this
Monologue.
He's asking questions and answering them.
And I'll tell you another thing, Tino. Aye.
Anyway, we had this situation at the press conference on Friday. I've covered it a couple of times now. There was a 14-minute press conference. I think 9 minutes were spent on Kasper Schmeichel. I think 2 were spent on Alastair Johnston. Around about 45 seconds was spent on Arne Engels. How many is that? Are we up at 14 yet?
Nearly.
Because we got to about 14 minutes and then somebody went, oh, what about Dundee United to the weekend? That'll be a tough game, blah, blah, blah. End of media conference. So you've got 14, 15 minutes with Martin O'Neill. We are still not allowed to go to that, and that's a separate gripe as such. But what you do get instead are journalists who they've not, I'm not saying they've got an axe to grind, but they've got an angle to find.
They've been sent to get ahead.
Go and try and get Martin O'Neill to say that Kasper Schmeichel's acted unprofessionally. Go and ask him about this, that, and next thing. So they spend all that time on that, and you don't find out about, you don't find out about Julian Araujo's injury or not, or whatever the situation is there. You don't find out about how the team are feeling coming out of those 4 away games and beating Motherwell and where are they at, headwise and ahead of this title race. You don't find out how they feel about a trip to Dundee where they've not won this season, all that kind of stuff. None of those questions were getting asked. It was completely farcical. And Martin O'Neill kind of played into the farcical nature. He was kind of bouncing about and getting a wee bit cute with some of his answers as well. It was just a complete waste of time. I thought it was unprofessional and just strange.
This is where you need a gym trainer that comes in and says, no, he's not answering that.
Yeah,
Remember that?
enough.
Absolutely
Okay.
brilliant.
I just think though,
But pardon me, do we ask those questions?
I'd like to think so. But what I'm saying is there are some questions about some of the players and there's lots of rumours and lots of bullshit as well. But, there's something going on and it'd be good to be able to ask those questions and just get some clarity. But we get nothing of the sort on Friday.
Feisty night,
Yes.
Hey.
I've also completely lost my way. I don't know.
That's all right. Going back to Araujo, I still think he'll play for Celtic this season. I think he's just got a little worry, and obviously Bournemouth will want to look at it because their asset.
Do you think he'll sign?
No, because we will never be able to afford these.
His brother thinks he'll sign, so I don't know if you caught that. His brother's on Instagram. He's been having a blast in Glasgow for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I think he was swinging for the chandeliers. And he was asked. He done a Twitter, an Instagram Q&A, like he's some sort of ask me anything. And excuse me, and in response to will your brother be back in Glasgow? I hope so. And here's opening. There's a few things happening. Blah blah blah. So who knows? Anyway, what this weekend has done is it has blown our title predictor out the window. So we have a new title predictor tool on our website, thecelticexchange.com. It's a great tool, but nobody put in 2-0 Dundee United at the weekend.
I did.
So that's all over the place. But if you jump there, you can check out, you can basically populate the various fixtures to the end of the season and it'll produce a final table. That's all up in there now. Question is, though, 5 points behind with 21 points to play, 8 league defeats for the first time since the John Barnes season. Question, when were Celtic last third in mid-March, etc., etc. What's our title hopes looking like now?
Yes.
They are, yes.
Yes. They are, yes.
They are, yes.
Celtic win the league.
What about you?
Maybe.
Maybe. Gun to your head.
We can,
We can.
but we won't.
We won't.
I just don't think anything's certain.
We won't because of the stats tell me that we won't. I remember sitting here and recalling Rangers being on a dip before it had actually happened. I felt that they'd maybe went too strong too early. I really, really believed that Celtic could go on a run. And not now. But I'm talking about, yes, you know, all I'm saying is I'm just calling it as I see it. I'm not going to try and mask it just because I'm sitting here in this podcast and I'm going to say, oh, moan the hoops and think that we're going to win every game when the stats tell me, this season tells me, the playing squad tells me that we won't. Now, I did actually believe that we could a few games ago, after the Rangers game, we could maybe go on a 5-6 game winning run that would propel us into the last few games, hopefully top of the league. But having witnessed that game in the flesh yesterday and also seen just the complete lack of reaction for the players, I just feel that what might benefit us, if I'm looking for a glimmer of hope, is that being the third of 3 going into the split might alleviate an element of pressure on this playing squad.
The underdogs.
That by having that pressure alleviated from them, they'll then go into the last 6 games and just go, you know what, handbrakes off, go for it. We might actually see a bit more direct style of football. We might actually play to our strengths within that team, and we could then feasibly go and win the last 5 or 6 games. That's the glimmer of hope that I'm holding on to. But the stats bear out that what this team does is go on small runs and then ultimately collapse at the big moment. We've already lost a cup final this year. I know the circumstances are somewhat different to what they are now, but still, that's been our biggest stance this year. We've lost it. We've lost at home to Rangers. We've lost at home to Hearts. We've not won away to either of those teams who are our title rivals. You know, those stats are fairly damning. However, we've still got games against them. We can still beat them. Those will be 6-pointers. So we can do it. We absolutely can do it. I just fear that based on the evidence we have, we won't. I pray to God that I'm wrong. I pray to God that I'm wrong. And I'll still be going to the games absolutely believing, right, lads, get us 3 points. But I think it's just that I didn't see that coming yesterday. It's totally kind of knocked me off. Naturally, when you see a performance that tepid, it's going to knock your belief in that team. But if there's one man for the job, it's Mark O'Neill. If you do get McGregor back refreshed, if you do get Johnston back into the team, you know, a leader, that helps. Those things help massively.
Yeah.
It helped massively. So there's wee factors that could go for us. What about Osmond? Is there any chat about him?
Not much of him, but Engels is obviously.
Engels and Johnston, that team.
I just think Osmond would be that spark up front, a wee bit of pace in behind. I just think he's something a wee bit different to everybody else that we've got. I just think he'd be a real spark for us as well. But in any case, it's down to the players. They need to go and do it, but they need to show us they want to go and do it. And listen, it's only weeks ago we're talking about all those last minute victories. In many ways, has that result been coming? We've been dodging the bullets for so long. It eventually has to catch up with me, you know. And I think that's what's happened. We've just ran out of those sort of performances where, I mean, because Kilmarnock for large periods was absolutely dire. Dire.
It's interesting. I heard a wee bit of Jim Goodwin's post-match yesterday. Obviously a bit gutted.
Devastated.
Didn't get any dinner last night.
But what he did say was, we obviously have already been Celtic at Tanner this season, but under different circumstances. He says, but the same group of players by and large, and that's the point. Of course, it's Wilfried Nancy's Celtic versus Martin O'Neill's Celtic, but to Paddy's point about, you know, some of the mental fragility, it's the same group of players by and large, and January's not done a whole lot to impact that playing squad, and that's where the big concerns are in. So obviously, you know, you're in a position where you think we can win the league, and we might win the league, but you're not too confident. You're somewhere in between.
I just think I'm saying it's so uncertain. Obviously, it's uncertain. We don't know where it's going to end up yet, but I just think that Hearts could drop points, Rangers could drop points, and we could drop points. what I don't see and what I definitely think will be the case, we will not win 7 games in a row. That's where I'm at, and that's the big one for me. We need to get to that.
We need to kind of do that.
We do.
I think if you're going to win it, we'll not do it by drawing a couple of games and winning 5. We need to win all 7.
I just think we'll slip up more. So that's
you spent a long time analysing Celtic's fragility and the quality Celtic have got, but do that same exercise for Hearts and Rangers, you won't come in much different. You know.
But have we left ourselves too short now? That's the thing.
It's just that the games are running out, isn't it? And we've got ourselves in a deficit.
The Masters. I mean, do you think Hearts go between now and the end of the season without dropping points?
But do we?
No, but just that's not the question.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So like, if we go win 5 and drop to
no, we can't. We need to win all 7. Take that, right?
Aye.
I think actually, bizarrely, and I never like it, but the international breaks come at the right time for O'Neill to get some real time with the players. Obviously, a little bit away, but not having a game come up. Usually, you want a game to get it under your belt and all that stuff. But I think actually having a gap, it's 2 weeks closer to Alastair Johnston, 2 weeks closer to Engels.
Yeah,
all these things, and just to get in their heads, this is a title run.
And also, who are we playing? Simon Murray's Dundee.
Simon Murray's Dundee, that's right. It really is going to come down to, and this isn't to dismiss whoever becomes title winners, but it'll be the least worst of the
100%.
That it won't be a brilliant Celtic or Hearts or Rangers that win this league. It'll be the least worst of the 3.
I think you also need to recognise that, you know, if you're talking about championship winning form, as much as it immensely pains me to see it, to win, was it 4 games, 1-0 at home,
that's massive.
get the job done,
yeah.
keep clean sheets. You know, McInnes greasing his way about the touchline. But he's doing the business. And you just cannot argue with that. Yeah. You just can't, you know, as much as it pains me. And in the nightmare scenario.
Oh, I don't.
The nightmare scenario. The nightmare scenario. That it gets to the last day of the season. I need to ask this question.
Just fire it in your own net.
It gets to the last day of the season. Hearts need to beat us to win the league, or Rangers win the league.
Roll over Beethoven. Just take it in the chin.
No comment. Don't care. Don't care about either of them.
Yeah, you do.
I don't care.
Play the kids.
Play the kids.
I don't care.
May I ask for some feedback for the viewers listening?
So
Patreon community, the YouTube community, the Twitter, maybe not the Twitter community.
I'm not even listening to this.
End up with a virtual bazooka back through the screen.
I'm 100% to net King goals.
Right, okay.
So Celtic play Hearts at Celtic Park, final game of the season. If Hearts win, they win the league. If Celtic win, gift the Rangers. Just see.
No, you've just angered me. Come on,
all right.
Martin Neal, if you're listening, play this. Play this.
This is the guys.
Get them back in this. Come on.
We can still win it. My last point on it, and it just ties into what you were saying, James, about will Celtic win 7 in a row? Don't know, unlikely, whatever. But there's also no way that Hearts and Rangers win 7 in a row. And I think the stat goes that on only one match day of the 31 so far this season, have all 3 won. So Hearts, Rangers and Celtic win on the same match day. We've done a lot of the heavy lifting there. We have played a big part in that. But, you know, so what have we got? 8 losses, a number of draws and whatever they've got. Anyway, so but it proves the pattern that all 3 of us aren't just winning week in, week out. So there is an opportunity. There's a window there for Celtic, but it's getting tighter and tighter.
But that gets even smaller though. So see if we don't win the 7 and we drop points and the rest do, but it makes it even smaller.
If we drop any points, it's done, right? Aye. So just win the next game, win the 6.
Perfect.
Be perfect.
Just be perfect.
Celtic, is that too much to ask?
Just be Celtic.
Yeah. I tell you what, we'll move on to other things, but as mentioned a couple of times, the full final whistle show between myself and Paddy is available right now on our Patreon channel. You can tune into that right after this one for free as part of your free 7-day trial. The Patreon channel is where we provide all sorts of extra episodes throughout the week, including pre and post match shows for every Celtic game, plus daily Celtic content. Check it all out at patreon.com/Celtic Exchange or click the link in the show notes for this episode. Martin O'Neill's good work in recent weeks, and we've spoken about the 4 away games and the Motherwell game, it has done so much to put the anger at the Celtic board on the back burner. I think that's papered over some of those cracks. There's still anger.
Yeah,
but it absolutely
was a fair bit yesterday.
Well, it absolutely came back to the fore at Tannadice, and we've seen those scenes after the game. Paddy, you described a lot of these failings on the post-match show yesterday as quote-unquote an amalgamation of absolute pish, which I thought was as good a way as any to put it. And we've shared that in the socials for anyone who wants to check Paddy putting his point across so articulately. With any advances on amalgamation of absolute pish?
I mean, this has been a season of self-inflicted wounds, and I think that's what makes it so unpalatable, is because you're just like, why have we made all these mad mental decisions that have led us on this path? And it probably starts with getting into the season with a manager in his last year. I've always been someone that said in British football, but specifically Scottish football, it doesn't really work. The long goodbye doesn't work.
Yeah.
We kind of work based on certainty, even though the likelihood is managers, players can leave mid-season with the nature of the way things go. I think that kind of gave certainly the press that sort of angle all the time to create that. When are you got to commit? When's a new contract coming? Why is that why you're not getting back? That it just created a sort of narrative there that sat there. And ever since that, even though we had a relatively solid start to the season, I think we've always just been sort of spiralling a bit since then.
And something
circling the drain.
And then the board's absolute refusal to provide the funds for what was needed, it is just, it'll go down
Twice.
history as being utterly baffling. I probably understand January a wee bit more around
I understand January less.
No, because I think maybe I'm giving them too much credit, maybe. But if you're not entirely convinced on the guy you've just appointed, which I don't think they were, or certainly what was coming back.
But Nancy was going in the fifth.
So that but if they did really truly believe in him, they would have had players sitting there waiting. I think it was only Araujo we signed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we absolutely had already for 2 transfer windows before needed a striker. No striker.
Yeah.
And
why?
I know what you're saying.
Nobody will ever be able to explain that to me.
If they weren't certain on Nancy come maybe like the third week of December and maybe not certain on Tisdale, I would get that. But the fact is that since Michael Nicholson's arrival in 21, we've had so many failed transfers.
I don't know. I'm not listening.
The January one, how many times have we been told it's such a difficult window? Don't buy it.
Well, everyone around you is signing the players they need,
Wild.
I shared last night, Celtic hammered Dundee United 2-0, if 9-0 under Ange, right? And all the players, and even the players in that team, you're going, I always thought he was, we could have improved upon him, and they would waltz right into this team, right? The line I put on the chat was, what in the Celtic board were they looking at? And they went, that's not for us. We're going to dismantle that and take us to where we are now in 4 short years. Where is the thinking behind that?
It's madness. It makes no sense at all. And even like just looking at the striker situation in isolation, whether it's Wilfried Nancy, Brendan Rodgers, Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney, whatever, every coach in world football needs a striker, unless you're Craig Levein in it, 4-6-0, which would never be Celtic. So you need a centre forward. So it doesn't matter if you're getting the guy for Nancy or whatever. Is a really good centre forward, regardless of system. It's just madness that we've got what we've got. Let me read out some stuff that makes for terrible reading. We have replaced Kyogo and his 12 goals from last season, Nicholas Kuhn and his 21 goals, and Adam Ida, who got 20 goals last season. 3 players, 53 goals. We have replaced that with Iheanacho, 3, Tuneke, 5, Chinchara, 2, Junior, 1, Joel Mvuka, 0, Michelangelo Balikwisha. If there was a number below 0, that would be Balikwisha's goal return. 11 goals across 6 players. So we've got 3 players getting 53 goals, and across 2 windows we've replaced it with 6 players getting 11 goals.
Johnny Kenny top scorer? Johnny
Kenny top striker with 6 goals down at Bolton. How can you expect to win a title with that level of replacement at play? It is, I mean, that's
but not only how can you expect to win a title, how can you sit in your seat and go, I'm doing a great job here. I'm doing a great job. Yeah. The fans yesterday venting their spleen as is their right. But what is the counter the board have got to that? They say, no, you don't understand, or what, just give us some time. You're just demonstrably terrible at your job. Yes. And I know it's Desmond really right, but have some dignity and say, I just can't work under these circumstances.
If you want further evidence of how poor it is and how there is zero plan, there clearly is zero plan. They are relying on agents coming and helping them. We were working again with Dudu Dahan.
I know.
Think about that. We nearly signed your man from the team in Israel.
He went to Sunderland. Ibrahim Tabir.
He got injured.
But the thing is that we are clutching at straws. We're scraping the barrel. It's the phone book of any players for us. That's generally how this is operating.
No, we did a joke about the text for the Villa, but that was, you know,
Well, that's literally where we have to
Asper and
go.
Araujo.
We're getting to the stage where we're going to ask our good players, you getting any mates?
Anyways, the point.
Let me say something as well, though, because as you said, there have been so many failings just this season alone, right? So many failings. The Brendan Rodgers exit and the follow-up statement, the AGM and all the drama around that, Paul Tisdale, Wilfried Nancy.
This year ever.
But the most important thing, despite all of that, the most important thing, the one thing that if you get it right covers just about everything is recruitment. All of that can happen if you go and sign a good striker and a good backup and a good winger and you just get good players on the pitch. And then everyone forgets about that and you go and win trophies and you get excited again about what next year might hold and what Europe might hold. So recruitment is the be-all and end-all, and you can then fix the main stand later on, and you can sort your comms out later on, and you can shuffle the boardroom if you want. Getting recruitment papers over so many cracks, and they had 2 shots at it. They had summer, which was a disaster, and January, which was worse.
The January was worse for me because you acutely know what needs to be done. You know, even if you wait the first 5 days and the news in, and O'Neill had assessed the squad in his way out the first time and told them what they needed. So even if you talk about Nancy stuff, right? They knew what needed to improve, the position they needed to improve. So but then you've got O'Neill back, and he was like, okay, well, you know what I need. Then there's the list. And I think there was a lot of work the first week of the transfer window, or their first week of the window, to undo what was in train, basically saying, nah, that's not the move and all that stuff. And then, I mean, today, they identified players that they wanted and could sign, and we didn't, for whatever reason, negotiate successfully. Failure is failure at the end of the day. It's not like we didn't identify players that would have been better than Mvuka, better than Junior. We just didn't get the deals done.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
And those are the players that maybe do something yesterday.
Yeah, and just to be clear on the example that Paddy gave earlier on, so Martin O'Neill was asked in the closing days of the window, I think 3 days before the close of the window, whoever was interviewing him referenced Gajemis at Frosinone in Serie B and Redzic, who has since gone on to RB Salzburg. So the journalist said, and what about these two, Martin? Are these signings that are close to completion? He said, you wouldn't be a million miles away there. You wouldn't be a million miles away. So Martin O'Neill thinks he's getting those 2 players, and instead he gets Joel Mvuka and Junior Adama.
O'Neill doesn't say stuff like that
without
you knowing
being told
it's pretty much
near enough there. Aye.
Really
So who's saying that then? And that's what Paul John Faxon was trying to make the point. He was basically saying that buck can't lie with Neil. Someone again has failed at their job.
Yeah.
So again, we go back to everything is rosy at Celtic. We're doing a good job. Fuck you. That's all we're getting back. Yeah. That can't be the case for the remainder of this season or the remainder of us following this football club.
We'll get the bleep machine back on. But that was my final question on this kind of section. Where is the acknowledgement or the acceptance that the club has completely failed this season, regardless if we win the title? You can win the title and still have failed at your jobs.
If we win the title, I'll be at the front door the day after,
100%,
shouting for them to go.
You'll be at the front door saying, I have paid £0 for this season, and I want to know when I'm getting my refund.
Do billionaires admit they're wrong?
I've not heard any.
The successful ones, the better ones do. They make more money.
Let me ask you a follow-up question though, in a kind of follow-up section. Last year's season ticket renewal campaign kicked in on the 23rd of April. This is 23rd of March, so it would be in theory around about a month from now. Last year's campaign was called Back for the Future, and it was all very exciting about Jota returning and KT and all this kind of stuff. And I read it out earlier on, and it's so there's marketing chat there and stuff like that, which is just part of the gig. And this isn't anything against anyone that does that, and I know folks are part of that at Celtic. But the message rings really hollow now, because there is a line, and me and Paddy were chatting about it earlier on. It says, almost word for word, the season ticket holders are the lifeblood of the club. And it just rings so hollow now. Jeez, when you think of everything that's followed since the 23rd of April last year to where we are right now, it just feels really cheap. And just to ask me, what is the campaign message going to look like now? What can you possibly say now on
buy
the
some season tickets?
It makes the ban of the Green Brigade even more disingenuous, because they may spout that they have good reason to do that, instance at different games. That may be individuals contained within that group, but they know for one absolute fact that is a very loud group who will hold them to account. And the more that time goes on, the more you begin to wonder. It's just been almost spiteful by the board now towards the fans, certainly some elements of the fans.
Especially you can see, you can run onto the pitch at Ibrox, fire a rocket at the away fans, and the fans advisory group say, "Nah, you're all right." Safety advisory group says, "No, you're cool."
There's just
They're
too
hiding behind
much.
And the point is, nobody's believing them,
No,
which
I
is
know.
worse than anything else.
Exactly.
So now you're not believed by your fan base. You've lost credibility. Just where do you go from here?
And that's so we're at this kind of awkward, horrible stalemate where action from the board, reinstating the fans, ending the bans would be one thing. You would then want to see, some decisive action and improvement in the squad, some sort of structural change above the first team that would help with that. And even if you dig a wee bit deeper into that, if a team's struggling and needs some fresh blood, what's the point of the B team if you've not got some fresh blood that you can ignite in there to, maybe freshen up the squad or add, bolster it? We don't really, other than Donovan, we don't really appear to have MD that's potentially got to come through. So the whole football and operation needs a refresh. We're probably going to be looking for a new first team coach as well at the end of it, a new manager, whatever term you'd want to use.
The recruitment, coaching staff, the whole.
But now we are looking at all those things, and it's the board who have presided over the mess that we're relying on. Because what's going to change? Michael Nicholson has proven to be just not very good at his job, albeit the caveat to that is the conditions that he's working under are obviously going to make that job difficult for him. But if it all roots back to Desmond, is there an end to this? Is there an end to this? I noticed there was quite a significant drop in profitability in the accounts.
49 to 13 million.
Yeah.
Are we reaching that sort of end game where the financial impact of what's going on is going to be the main driver, but that could have long-term implications for us as well?
I think there's obviously a lot of chat that he's doing this in spite of the fans, basically just to basically say, the more you protest, the more I'm going to stand my ground on this. But there comes a point where he for Desmond, it can't be a plaything. It can't be. It will get boring, and especially if you have conditions where you've got two guys there in Mackay and Nicholson who are earning incredible amounts of money that are not allowed to say a thing with the looks of it, or nor have we heard from them since their powder puff pieces with Jerry McCulloch. These guys are quite happy sitting doing what they're doing. They'll know they'll move on to jobs later on. Whoever comes in, that's going to be the big one, because who wants to work under that kind of exactly? I think it's career suicide for a lot of people. Yeah. And the big thing for me is that what is the next steps for the club? We're talking about the rebuild this summer. I'm speaking about the next 3-4 years. We could be in for a very, very sharp wake up in reality in terms of what is going to happen with this football club. It is so poorly run. We're speaking about the overhaul we need in the board. We're about to lose at least 16 players potentially this summer as well. 16 footballers that will need replaced. It could be, but who's going to come in and make that decision? Yeah. Generally,
the whole place lacks leadership, and I don't know if you lads read the piece by Stephen McGowan today in the Herald. I described it earlier as scathing but not unfair in any way. No. And I actually think that were Michael Nicholson or anyone else in the exec team to read it, I think they'd probably go, that's about right. And one term he used when I think he was describing Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay and others, he described them as human pinatas for Dermot Desmond, i.e. those that just take the baton but they're rewarded financially, and that's it. And that is, it leans back into this wholly dysfunctional nature of what we do.
Listen, this is the thing we've been crying out for, is that transparency. We don't even see what they're doing. We don't hear from them. We hear from them when it comes to an AGM that had failed. And listen, you can say what you want about that. It didn't go the right manner. But I still think we would have been fed a pack of lies. You've seen the statement for Ross Desmond coming out and saying what he's going to say. You look at the then reactionary pieces from Nicholson and from Mackay and trying to say where we're at, and actually trying to say how the club has been operated, it's doing well and the system is working. It is a complete mess.
As if you can't see what's happening right in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. It is delusional.
It's all getting a wee bit dark, lads.
Just a bit.
Is there a
let me see if I can bring some light to it as such, but
no, switch your lights off.
with all of that going on, and to bring it back to how I opened that section, what is the season ticket campaign messaging going to be? And actually, people will renew or not. They'll have made their mind up right now. It doesn't matter what.
I don't know.
But it doesn't matter what people put out in a letter or a season ticket campaign or an email or come join us again for season 26-27. You're not going to decide on that, are you?
You'll have different kind of camps. You'll have the always renew no matter what,
Yep.
and there's a new camp. I always renew no matter what until now, which is they start to actually think about it.
Yeah.
And you'll have guys who are saying, I'm so scunnered with this over the last few years that I'm definitely not going to renew. So Celtic's job is to try and convert as many of them to them as they can, and I think that's a hard sell.
So I think generally they get something like 98% renewal, something like that. I think that's the figure. As a ballpark, how many do you think as a percentage wouldn't renew based on the temperature that you can see and feel in your networks and online and through our channels here at Celtic Exchange? How many do you think won't
Not
renew?
renewing, 40, 50%.
50%?
Yeah. I think if you're on a season ticket waiting list, you're getting a season ticket this season if you want one.
So hold on, if there's 53,000 season ticket holders, you think 26-ish thousand?
I think there's enough people pissed off, because this has been going on years.
I think there's a lot that will
This is a
maybe say
combination.
that. We might be included and stuff like that. I think 50% not to renew is a wildly optimistic figure for those who are thinking like that.
Pessimistic, if you like.
I know, I can't work out my mystics.
I get where you're coming from. I think it could be like that, but that only comes off the back off if we don't hear from the board, or we don't hear about a plan.
But is it not
And
too late now?
No, listen. You would like to think, and I've said this how many times on this show, you would like to think that the planning has started, and that we're shaping up for that restructuring side of things in the backroom staff. Absolutely. But they also know that if they come out and say anything at the moment, whilst we're playing the way we're playing, people are going to go at it no matter what they come out and say. If the plan has started now, the renewals come out, and then they make it very clear whether or not that's Nicholson going to leave in the summer, Mackay going to leave in the summer. I think they will.
The fact that we've signed a St Al's guy for head of commercial or head of whatever it is.
Well, one of them will be staying.
That says the network is intact. It is going nowhere.
I think one will stay.
So let me pin you on a percentage then. James thinks up to 50% might not renew. What do you think?
I'd say 20.
10.
I'm between 5 and 10. Because there'll be people with...
I'll be renewing.
People with good intentions and people who are so angry and so invested in Celtic, but equally so scunnered with how it's gone. But it's the way they follow Celtic is beyond any board of directors or any kind of exec team. It's something to do with their best mates, and they've done it for years, or they take their wee boy or their wee girl, or they go with their partner, whatever it might be. Everyone goes to Celtic for different reasons, and most are hugely emotional reasons. Yes. And despite the anger at what's going on upstairs, I don't think any more than 10%.
But it is the emotional reason that if you don't do something now, this is it forever.
There's a tip point.
And I think I would agree with James on that. For me, I would renew if those comments were made or those changes were put forward. There's a plan. There's something that they're looking to do. Because if there's nothing like that, there's no restructure. It's a very difficult decision for me because it's pissing money into the wind, to be honest.
It'd need to be a hell of a plan and really clearly outlined with timescales and all that stuff. And based on what we've seen so far, and you talk about proof and evidence of the team so far, what have this exec board and this club shown you so far that make you think we'll get this miracle plan in the next?
It could get worse.
Think about a show the last 2-3 seasons when there's been a renewal, there's been a price increase, and we speak about the value for money. We speak about the cost that people have been spending on strips, and I know that the merchandise has obviously dropped off a lot this season. We speak about the cup games that we pay extra for, the Champions League games, the Europa League games. We speak about the friendlies. There is no value to the ticket whatsoever.
Shrinkflation.
£5 a dollar pie.
Would you be surprised if they go and try and increase it this season as well? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. It's going to be incredible.
We are a customer.
As I say, the campaign should be coming out in about 3-4 weeks' time. The club must be dreading the thought of pushing the button and launching the campaign. I don't know what it's going to look like.
It'll come after a good result, if there is one.
If there is one.
Well, that's the thing. We have to hope that, that number I'm saying, 40-50%, that could and should be way lower if you win the league, right? Well, and I have to hope they will win the league. So that's when you put that campaign out.
Ultimately, after a defeat and the nature of the defeat we've just had, it leads to, that sort of, you feel that sting. But there's obviously, the stats bear out. I keep going on about the stats, but just because it's staring you right in the face, there's been a regression in how we would normally operate this season.
An 11-goal swing to Dundee United.
So
from 9-0 to beat 2-0.
Aye, well, that's one way to look at it. But despite all of that, remarkably, when you're looking for that wee chink of light, we're still in it.
Because they're mud.
Positive myth.
We're still, no, but we're still in it. We're still in it. And therefore, when you talk about that month that you referred to, 23rd of March, contained within that month will be some massive games that by the time they go to press release on that campaign, you probably are going to know your fate, or you're going to be very close to knowing your fate.
It's quite early finishes.
If we drop
or something, the league finishes.
The league finish 16th of May. The Scottish Cup finals the 23rd of May.
So if we drop points to Jobby Ball, we might be struggling.
Is this Presley?
But that's what you call it. What is it? A jobby?
Aye.
So you know your fate by then. It might be sealed, but it might not. You could be careering towards an unlikely but remarkable league title victory. So I think as far as that concerned, you're right to say it's emotional, because it is.
Of course it is.
But I would imagine, for the reasons that you've stated, Tino, I would say the drop-off numbers will be quite low, partly because even if you are still feeling aggrieved, well, you're parting with your money, so you might feel you're being complicit in backing the board by parting with your money. In actual fact, the way the majority will look at it is being in the stadium to make the noise is also part of it as well, but ultimately you're there just to go and back your team. So I get the emotional argument, but I think when it comes down to it, the reasons that you go to the football are so much more than financially supporting Celtic.
I know.
It's as simple as that.
It's a question that we'll need to revisit, and thousands of folks will be asking themselves in the coming weeks. So we'll certainly stay close to that in the weeks and months ahead. There's a few questions I was hoping to ask that we're just not going to get to. You probably
they're special.
You probably wouldn't have enjoyed the
Somebody told me, Paul McCauley, good friend of mine, listens to us walking around the park. So let's add a wee 20 minutes in and he can do an extra 2k.
20 minutes for Paul.
Extra 2k for Paul. Shout out to Ian.
Big Ian O'Sullivan.
Big Ian.
He joined me for the bus.
Sunday.
Yeah, so Ian,
Sunday.
I feel for Ian.
Big Ian.
He's big lad.
Needed a step to get up, just get shoulder height.
Ian got offered a ticket last minute from Cork on Thursday or Friday. He was looking around for a bus, and thankfully Miff's bus, the Notre Dame bus,
Good lad.
picked him up or met him at the Lockheed. What club is it?
The Lockheed.
It was Sandy's.
Sandy's in Lockheed. So Ian tied in with Miff. They had a lovely time together. Shared a few beers,
and then the game started.
Aye, and then Ian has to make that journey back to Cork. So I feel for him.
Long road.
He's a great lad. Ian, he's a good pal of the show.
And a shout out to Jim. I met him in Kentigern's on Friday. He was in with his pals, and they were sitting saying, "Is that the big guy? Is it?" Aye, it was me, lad. Nice to meet you all. Hope you enjoyed your day. They then turned around and said, "Listen, I'll give you a shout out on Monday." And they're like, "We don't listen, mate. We listen to Rangers podcast instead." Try to take the piss.
No, this week. Those questions, which I won't ask you anyway, was how would you feel about a Scottish Cup and no league title? Not so good. How about Steve Clarke as manager? Bit of suggestion. I know.
With this team, maybe. With this team, maybe.
I'm happy.
And that was about it. Actually, there's a wee bit more chat on the fact that we know it won't be Brian Wilson as chairman. Blah blah. Benny, Steve Clarke. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. Paddy, I'll come to you. Your closing comments on another busy week.
Revisionism this week, just in terms of where we've been all...
A week's a long time in football. We were cock a hoop last week after Motherwell.
But and rightly so. Listen, there's one thing about this. We know what this current squad of players is all about. We know that it's going to be literally urging them to go over the finish line if we have to for the remainder of this season. It just can't pull away for the facts that how badly we are being run at the moment. And we spoke about this. I think you and I had a good debate about it not that long ago, where it was park it and wait till the summer. I just think that you can see now how many people are still saying, actually, this doesn't go away. This doesn't go away. And you're spot on in terms of if we win the league. I don't think you're the only one that's going to be at the front of the stadium the next day saying, what's going on with this club?
What are you saying?
Just try to find the happiness. No, look, the first 5 minutes after the game, you say like disaster, and then you get the maths of it together, and you go, right, if Hearts drop any points, all we need to do is beat Hearts, beat Rangers, beat everyone else. And that's it.
It's fine,
right?
Absolutely.
No jeopardy.
We're fine.
No
We're
jeopardy.
fine.
Right.
We're fine.
So, look, this is part of being a football fan. That we've had it our own way for so long, albeit the only way we're not having it our own way. This has never been done in football before, where the team that has £70 million in the bank says, or just no spend that and see what happens. just for a laugh, see what happens, and you see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So after we'd worked the maths out, is that just going win? Can Celtic win 7 games in a row? Yes, they can, right? I'm not saying they will, but yes, they can.
Can Livingston win 7 games in a row? Yes, they can.
Probably
but they
not.
won't.
Probably not.
It can.
Can Hearts go the season without dropping any points? Probably not, right? It's doable is all I'm saying. And if you're a football fan, you need to just keep the faith, to use your phrase, John.
Hashtag
And get-
BTF, my
Get to the line.
What are you saying? Final word.
I can't
Well,
let
for
any
us,
way.
international football followers, we take off our shamrock hats, put on our Jimmy wigs,
It's a big week for the Irish as
Your
well.
Timbies.
our desert timbies.
Playoffs.
No,
Who we play?
Friendlies.
aye, friendly. So
Playoffs for
Um,
Ireland.
I get to watch a scintillating Clark ball. No, I listen. It's a sore one. Sunday's a sore one. There's no escaping that fact, but also there's no escaping the fact that it's not done yet, and it is never done until it's done. So, whilst I have a limited amount of faith in this team
Keep
to go on a
the faith.
7-game winning run, it is not out with the realms of possibility. The split is Celtic season. My only hope is that we come alive for that split, win all our games and win the league. So I'll be praying for that to happen, praying very, very hard. But I agree with James. Breaks probably came at a good time. The tone is probably slightly morose this evening, but we good reason, because we care. We want Celtic to win, and a wee break will freshen us up. We'll come back, win 6 games in a row, we'll win the league, see you on the Gallagate. Cheers.
No bother. And as the old Celtic saying goes, keep some of the faith and we'll see what happens. That's us for the latest Celtic Exchange Weekly. Don't forget to check out Celtic Exchange on Patreon to unlock your free 7-day trial and enjoy additional content from us right throughout the week. But all that aside, if you can, have a brilliant week. We'll see you back soon for the next one.
How good if Hearts and Rangers just totally collapse?
Oh.
That'd be brilliant.
Aye.